About 6 weeks ago. So that's certainly.
What's up, Commanders fans? Welcome into the Command Post. That's Trev. I'm Brian. You know us. You love us. We love you guys.
Love you.
And there's more Commanders to talk about. We are at the beginning of May, and this team never sleeps. This league never sleeps. I'm ready to talk some football. But before we do that, Trev, how you doing, my man?
Good, man. We said pre-show. It's raining here right now. It's my off day, so kind of a dreary, boring day, but not so much since we got a new episode of Command Post happening right now. So other than that, I'm good.
That's right, man. We got a few things to talk about. Obviously, things are a little bit slow before rookie minicamp and all that, but it's going to be picking up here soon. But one of the things that I have seen that fans have been talking about, and I guess they've been talking about it since forever, it feels like, and that is the wide receiver room, right? We know Terry McLaurin, could it be his last year? I think there are ways that it could be that, all that sort of stuff. They draft Antonio Williams. We know Brandon Ayuk's name has been mentioned kind of officially, unofficially for, it feels like, over a year since, more than that, because since Jaden Daniels was drafted, I think that was floated out there. All that to be said, the main question I think that is on every Commanders fan mind is, are you cool with the wide receiver room as it is with Terry McLaurin, Antonio Williams? You have De'Ami Brown back in the DMV, Luke McCaffrey, Van Jefferson, Jalen Lane, some other lesser known names. But are you cool? Let's say we fast forward 4 months. It's the beginning of September. Week 1 is upon us, and you've got that group of wide receivers. How are you feeling about that, Trev?
Let's just go. Let's just go ahead and start the season with that. Get in the camp with this wide receiver room. Got to build some chemistry, get some continuity going. If we spend so much time waiting for bigger names and bigger products to emerge as candidates to bring on the team, then we're going to be behind. So I think AP and front office are doing their due diligence as keeping their tabs on available guys to bring in. But right now we've got, I think I did a list for our on Twitter the other day for our podcast Twitter. We have like over or close to 15 wide receivers right now on the roster hitting into camp, including drafted free agents, and draft choices. So right now, I think stick with what you got. Go into to see what we can do on the field first before we bring anybody else in, because I don't want to bring in so many people that nobody gets a chance to show what they can do because there's so many people in front of them or so many bigger names in front of them. So just stick with what we got. Let camp happen a little bit. See if these guys got it or not on the field, and then go back and look at the list and see if we can bring somebody else in. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Traylon Burks or Jacoby Jones.
Exactly.
There are a lot of names out there. So I agree with you. I think if the season started this week, if this season started right now, I think you'd be okay with who you got out there. If you squint at the roster, you might even say the wide receiver room might even be a little bit more experienced or a little bit more maybe not experienced, but talented than 2024. It's right there. I don't know that you have a reliable vet like Jamison Crowder or Zacchaeus, but Van Jefferson, De'Ami Brown, we've seen them do it in big moments. So yeah, I'm with you. I think you're okay if you start the season. I am intrigued, as fatigued as I am about it by Brandon Ayuk. I just don't want to address it until he's released. There's no point in kind of stewing about it. And I agree. Is that going to be this summer? Is that going to be before week 1? All that being said, if it is late in the offseason, he's not going to be ready. As much as he knows Jaden Daniels, as much as he has been in the league, he doesn't know the offense, that sort of thing. So I'm not counting on him. I see you have it down there. The name I want to talk about is Stefon Diggs.
Yes,
he was cleared of charges, found not guilty, all that. I don't know the exact terminology, but essentially he's in the clear, it seems like. Coming off a 1,000-yard season, went to the Super Bowl with the Patriots. I looked it up. I don't think he's ever had I think he's had one losing season in all his years. I mean, the guy just has been successful for 3 different teams.
Yep.
What excuse me, 4 different teams. I forgot the stop in Houston. All that being said, what do you think about him coming back home to DMV? I mean, another former Terp joined Chig and Nick Cross. What are
I
your
mean,
thoughts maybe bringing him in?
I know I said keep the wide receiver room as it is, but if they're not going to listen to us, if they have every right not to, go get Stefon Diggs. Not just the obvious that he's from the area, bring the hometown kid back home, but I looked up some production for him for the past couple of years and to see where he can line up with us because we drafted Antonio Williams, who is, as Rio Robinson referred to, as a slot demon, which I agree with as I've done a little bit more research. Stefon Diggs, you think he was a slot receiver, but he was primarily used as an outside receiver, at least for his 4 years in Buffalo. And with those 4 years in 2020 in Buffalo as an outside receiver, pretty much wide receiver number 2, he had 127 catches for 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns. 2021, over 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. 2022, over 100 catches, 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. 2023, over 100 catches, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns.
There's a theme there. There's a theme
and
there.
then last year in New England, he had 80 some receptions, which is probably lowest he's had in a while, but he was targeted over 100 times, so he caught most of his passes, and he still went over 4,000 yards. And he, like you said, he went to the Super Bowl. So if there is any wide receiver that you have to bring in or want to bring in right now into camp, it should be this guy. It should be this guy.
I think he is who he is, and but it's successful. He would have probably had 1,000 yards in Houston if he didn't tear his ACL. He was certainly on pace. He had about a 500 yards in 8 games. Still managed 3 touchdowns. So yeah, he produces. And if you're serious about putting the best talent around Jaden Daniels, he's got to at least warrant a look. Now I understand. I've heard that he's not always the best locker room guy, but I think you have enough leadership to where you can get by with that. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of overrated in today's NFL. Not everybody's going to be a choir boy. Not everybody's going to be a team captain.
No.
That's okay. Sometimes you need some dogs out there that just make plays. And I think Brandon Ayuk is in a similar situation. The difference is for those folks that are really wanting Brandon Ayuk, Stefon Diggs has been more successful in his career. He's been more successful recently. We've seen him on the field more recently. I wouldn't mind it at all. I think you could definitely get him on the cheap going into his year 33 season. So he's a vet. He's a longtime vet. So I'd be interested. I definitely would think that he is something they got to be thinking about. The other name that I think keeps getting kind of pushed to the side with Brandon Ayuk and now even Stefon Diggs, Jawan Jennings. I wouldn't mind bringing that guy in. I know that doesn't ring the bell kind of like Ayuk or Diggs had quite the upside. But when that guy is right, when he is in a role, he can be a wide receiver 1. We saw him in the Super Bowl. Speaking of a guy that went to the Super Bowl, if the 49ers win that Super Bowl against the Chiefs, he's probably your Super Bowl MVP. So this guy has done it at a big time level. Is he expected to get paid? Is he expecting to get paid like a number 1 wide receiver? I think that's past, and I think he has to realize that. He's gone through what now you could almost say 2 waves of free agency, the draft, nothing's come of it. I wouldn't mind bringing him in there. I think he'd be a nice compliment to Terry. So I'm intrigued. I think I kind of ride in the fence. I think they'd be fine to ride with the guys that they have.
Yeah.
But there are some serious options out there that can make this team better. And to me, you want as many weapons as possible around your young quarterback. And there are a few that are kind of staring you in the eye. Now that makes sense for the Commanders. It might make sense for their front office. But what are these guys thinking? That's always a part of this equation. But I think there are some names out there that certainly could make sense.
I agree with you. I think I'm with you. I'm on the fence too. Go ahead and write it out with the receivers we have into camp so far, see what we got. But then also bring in some of those experienced veterans, some of those bigger names to create competition, to help bring those guys like Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, and even they could even be a mentor. Stefon Diggs could be a mentor for Antonio Williams, another slot. They're saying Antonio can play inside and out. That's what Stefon has been doing his whole career. So Jawan Jennings, huge, big, tall, physical wide receiver that we have lacked since, I don't know, maybe Pierre Garcon or even tight end Jordan Reed. So and
Mhm.
Fred Davis. But yeah, go ahead and get him in. He's a blocking wide receiver. He could be a great compliment to Terry. Yeah, so I'm on the fence with you. Either ride with it or go get one of those three names. Don't get anybody else, but I'd say Juwan Jennings, Stefon Diggs, or Brandon Ayuk. Those are the
Yeah.
three you got.
I think you have built your foundation. I think you've gotten a lot of young players, which we have talked about, which every fan, which they realized they needed to get younger. They brought in a lot of young pieces to hopefully make themselves more up to date, more state of the art, if you will, in today's NFL. You
Yeah.
can't keep riding with 30 plus vets as much as they have been good. They're not the same.
No, they're
But
not.
I think you can sprinkle in one of these guys now with what the moves you've made. This could be your kind of roll the dice. Are you gonna bring any of these guys in for more than a 1-year deal? I wouldn't think so. So
No.
I think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think you're in a good spot to see where you're at with one of these guys. Kick the tires on them, even if it's a camp invite. I know normally those guys aren't looking for just a camp invite, but something, over the summer, see what you got there in one of them.
And I know optics is everything. It might not be important outside of that, but Brandon Ayuk has been, yes, healthy for maybe a year, and he hasn't posted any workout, hasn't done anything like the average receiver who thinks they're the best receiver in the league would post. Stefon Diggs is in some legal troubles, and he's right in the gym right afterwards, posting that he's getting to work. So, like, I don't know if it's anything, but optics are. Brandon Ayuk is posting outfits and cars and
That's a good
cryptic
point.
hip hop captions, and Stefon Diggs is getting back to work. So it's like I
I,
don't,
I do
you know,
I do wonder if Brandon Ayuk is trying to pull the James Harden fat suit where he's trying to make it seem like he's out of shape so the 49ers will dump him. But
will.
I'm with you. It is encouraging to see that Stefon Diggs, by all accounts, is right back at it, looking to get back into the league. But I agree. You mentioned Antonio Williams. I think Terry McLaurin alongside him, De'Ami Brown, Van Jefferson, however long they're with the team, those are all vets that can help a rookie come along. Why not bring in another guy that could help as well? So that leads us to Antonio Williams. That leads us to some of the other rookies.
Yes,
Rookie
sir.
mini camp taking place this weekend. We are recording this on the 6th. Rookie mini camp taking place May 8th through the 10th. I know that the media will be out there on Friday.
Nice.
What are you hoping to see? What are your thoughts? What do you want to hear when it comes to this rookie mini camp? Who are you going to be keeping an ear out, an eye out for when the media is out there on Friday?
Obviously Antonio Williams. I think he is probably our most electric draft selection that we have, not just because of where he was, but just by, highlight tapes and film and stuff. But it's rookie minicamp. It's only 3 days. It's nothing really too excruciating or intense, but I'm going to be looking forward to see how well these players pick up the workouts for an NFL player. Not necessarily playbook or nothing like that, but their agility, their strength, their knowledge of how to pick up drills quickly and how to just become a pro. Because now you're going from being a college student to be a money making established human being, a young man. So I just want to see how quickly they can adapt to that and to a professional football setting in NFL and the first actual NFL camp, whether it's training, rookie, mini camp, whatever. Just want to see how they respond to it.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. I know you hear high school players going into college. It's the first time they're doing, workout regimen. Not that you don't work out in high school, but it's different each level. And
Mhm.
again, it happens in the NFL as well. So yeah, how do they respond to NFL coaching? How do they respond to the agility, the speed that is way different as you move to the next level? Obviously, I'm looking forward to Sonny Styles. I think he's going to stand out. I mean, he's an athletic freak. He's going to be all over the place. You hope all season long, and especially with rookies, you kind of wonder if they have to tone him down a little bit because you have to imagine he's going to be a physical freak out there. He's going to stand out amongst some of these rookies. I
Mhm.
agree, Antonio Williams. I'm looking forward to seeing Jonathan Josephs, how he is his length. I know that they're probably not a whole lot of offensive defensive line work, but just some of these guys that you hear some of their traits. What does that look like out on the field?
Mhm.
What do they look like in a Commander's jersey? I think that'll be really exciting to see. Get those jersey numbers out, please. And then maybe we'll see that finally. But I'm ready. I know that's a nerdy thing and it doesn't matter and it's gonna change before the season. I'm ready. Everybody
Yeah.
else is putting it out there. Where are ours? I want to see the jersey templates. Come
Yeah.
on.
I know.
But no, I'm excited just to see my team out there, whether it's these guys that have a slight chance or are going to be locks and Sunny Styles. I'm also and Antonio Williams, the way he gets open and the videos we've seen and all the stuff that we've heard, I'm excited to see that, even if it is against guys that are fringe NFL roster guys. It's still be really fun to see. And then, speaking of the quarterback, I had to write down the Rutgers quarterback, Kaliak Manis, I think is the last name there. I'm kind of excited to see what he has to offer, because you have to imagine that he's competing with Sam Hartman for that into the roster, practice roster, developmental guy, but he's got to have some sort of zip for the fact that they drafted him. So a lot of fun stuff I think that we can be looking forward to, and it just means that we're getting closer and closer to the real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I'm so bored right now in the off season. I'm just
No doubt.
some kind of action for something on the field from
And I
our
said Jonathan Joseph. I meant Joshua Joseph. I apologize to our 5th round pick there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just somewhat, like you said, something to look forward to, something that is actually happening on the field as we sit here 4 months from the regular season.
Yes.
But it's gonna pick up. There's the rookie mini camp, and I think there's a mini camp maybe the end of May into some traditional and mandatory stuff. So we're getting there, man, as the summer rolls into town.
I'm just ready for this NFL schedule to drop too. I have that down there on our banner going across.
Yeah.
I've read the other day, normally it comes out around this time, I think. In the past, it's been around either this week or next, or that's like the second week of May. It's when it releases, but I think this season it's going to be like the third or fourth week in May, and that's because they've got a couple of games that I think are international games. They got to figure out who's playing who, and so they can get those scheduled and get that release. So
Yeah.
push back a little bit, but I'm ready.
Yeah, they're starting the season on a Wednesday, I think I saw. So there's always some moving parts to these things, the international games, which I know the Commanders will be playing in London.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. So all these different things. I always find that interesting. Like, there's so many moving parts to that, venues, cities, traffic, all that. I would love to be a fly on the wall on how they kind of decide all this. Obviously, then it surrounds the money and the TV and all that stuff too. So yeah, I see May 13th and 14th. The NFL has got it made when they don't even have to give a date, and people are talking about when they're going to release not actual games, but schedule. They're not even playing a game, and they still are dominating the calendar. So exciting stuff. I'm curious when the Commanders' London trip will be. Will it be early on in the season? Will it be? I think it was about halfway through the year last year when they went to Spain.
Yeah.
That kind of sets up that kind of determines a lot of your schedule. A lot of times you'll have the bye week after that, so that could determine when their bye week is. There's so many moving parts there. Obviously, the nationally televised games last year that kind of bit them. Not a whole lot of Jaden Daniels in those nationally televised games. Will the NFL overcorrect? Will they still put them in some primetime slots? It seems like every team now is at least on 1 or 2 primetime games. There's a whole lot to look forward to. Well, let me ask you this. My cousins and I, we love the 1 p.m. games. I love sitting down on my couch and watching the Commanders at 1 p.m. What are your thoughts on nationally televised primetime slots?
I like the 1 p.m. games. I don't mind an occasional Sunday night, Thursday night, Monday night game here and there. But 1 p.m. games are great. You don't have to wait all day for the inevitable, as we used to have to do.
Yeah.
But so it gives you time it sets the mood for the rest of your day, and then for the rest of the week. Actually, 1 p.m. It gives you the rest of the day to do whatever you need to do for that day. I don't know. It's just a great time slot for football. I think it's 1 p.m.
Yeah, you're not waiting all night till Sunday night or even the whole next day into Monday Night Football.
It's like everything is centered around 1 o'clock is great. Good enough time to tailgate, grab some lunch, do whatever you got to do. But speaking of schedule release, I don't know if anybody has remembered or forgotten, but I'm going to run through our opponents that we have this season, because that kind of goes with the schedule. So according to Google, our home opponents this year outside of the division, we got the Rams coming to town, the Seattle Seahawks come to town. Oh boy, the Houston Texans, the Cincinnati Bengals, Atlanta Falcons again,
Yep.
I seem to play the Falcons all the time.
6th straight year. It's just the way it's rolled out. You know, you play who you match up against in this division standing. So when the Falcons have been good, the Commanders have been good and vice versa. So yeah, it is crazy to play a non-division opponent. This is literally the 6th year in a row.
It's crazy. And then the Colts come to our town too. And then so this year we go to San Fran, we go to Minnesota, we go to Jacksonville, we go to Arizona, and we go to Tennessee. Just by that alone, where we are today, I'm favoriting the away schedule rather than the home schedule.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can say anything about that, but
yeah, no, they're you know, it's hard to say because you can only base off of last year, but the fact that you got Seattle and LA, who they met in the NFC Championship, I believe. The Texans and that defense, the Colts, who before Daniel Jones went down, were looking like a legit threat in the AFC. We know what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase can do. But you know, the last time they played him was that coming out party for Jaden Daniels on Monday night, so a primetime game. And then we know what the Falcons can do with Bijan. They kind of took it to him last year in Atlanta. Had the thriller of the year before to go to the playoffs. So yeah, there are some tough games all over the schedule. It will be interesting to see. I think having Jaden Daniels in a couple of those games that you lost last year, I don't want to make excuses, but could have made a big difference. So I'm excited to see him against top competition. And yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the away schedule is a little quote unquote easier as it gets in the NFL. But yeah, there are some intriguing home games as well. So it all remains to be seen. We'll have to break that down, kind of see how it plays out when the bye week is. Are there any like built-in bye weeks? Do they potentially go to Dallas or host a Thanksgiving game? There's always those questions. You know, they played on Christmas last year, albeit Josh Johnson starting at quarterback against the Cowboys. We're just hoping that the players that are on the billboards and the advertisements are actually the players that are in the games come December. That would be nice, a place to start. But yeah, that's all coming. We'll kind of break down next week, I guess, what we hear about with the rookie mini camps, with the schedule if it comes out, you know, this time next week. A lot, you know, the NFL never sleeps. There are no games for the foreseeable future, and still it's all the talk. And get those jersey numbers out, please. I want to just see what our guys are wearing. Is there another jersey I need to buy? You know, all that sort of stuff.
Right. It's interesting to see who's going to pick single digits and who's not going to pick single digits. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, Nick Cross wearing 25. We saw that on Up and Adams. I'm taking credit for that because Up and Adams liked my tweet asking him to ask what jersey number he's going to wear. Thank you, Kay. Big fan. Great job getting that information. He said that he wanted number 3 from Will Harris, who said no, thank you. So 3 not available. So he's stuck with 25 for now. So yeah, there's, you know, Debo not back at the moment. Could he be a wide receiver that you bring back? I don't know. That's not the point. But number 1 is available. Number 2 is available with Marshawn Lattimore leaving. So yeah, you're right. The single digits, the Sonny Styles go back to 6 like you wore before, 0 at Ohio State. All these things are key. I need answers, and we're the only team, I swear, that has not put out the jersey numbers. Not that
I agree. I have nothing else to say with that sentiment at all. I'm just ready for these numbers to come out, and let's get the ball rolling for rookie minicamp.
Yeah, well, let's get rookie minicamp rolling this week. Excited to see the future of the Commanders out there for the first time, and hopefully it's the beginning of some storied careers for Sonny Styles, Antonio Williams, and the gang. We'll be watching. We'll be listening in for all the info on that, and we'll be back to talk about it next week. In the meantime, be good. We appreciate you. Trev, take it away.
All right, Command Post. We'll see you next week.